Welcome to the first episode ever of F That. I am Alexis, your host and guide on this journey to reclaim your power and create more money than you ever dreamed possible. Let's start really quickly with why I named the podcast F That. The F can either stand for Frank, which is my last name, or it can stand for fuck that. Whichever one you feel like placing there. And I like to go with fuck because it's literally like, fuck that. Whatever it is you think that you learned, whatever it is that you think that you know, fuck that. It's definitely not accurate. Or if you're not into cursing, you're probably in the wrong spot, by the way. You can go with F is for Frank. Okay. My soul's mission on earth is tied to anything that is going to help you love yourself more and get to the bag, make the money. That is what I'm here to guide you through. And I want to talk to you really quickly about how I landed here. So in February of 2023, I was in Carl's Jr. with my mom. I had just finished a pretty rifty interaction with her, and I left my kids with her and I went into the grocery store with my husband. I grabbed up some Thin Mints, and then ever so slightly, like this wave just rushed over me. And I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt like I was missing something. I felt like something had come over me. Like I was just like slammed some Thin Mints and I thought they were laced. And I thought it would go away after a while, but a few days turned into weeks, turned into months. And I legit thought that there was something wrong with me. And traditional Western medicine didn't find anything wrong with me. And that's when I kind of knew that it was my stress and it was my family and the stress tied to my narcissistic family that was making me the way that I was. And so this is when I turned to somatic work and non-traditional ways of healing, which led me to discovering my life's purpose through human design, numerology, past life regressions, and overall life coaching and business strategy through a holistic lens. And that journey led me here to this moment, to you listening. Somatic work like breathwork and meditation showed me how to reprogram my subconscious mind so that I could lean further into self-love and forgiveness. Human design validated my unique views on pretty much everything and my sleepy nature because your bitch loves to take a nap. Numerology confirmed that I'm here to impact millions through relationships and wealth building, which wanting to have a lot of money was something that my mother made me feel bad for growing up, and I had to release that. If you aren't familiar with human design, it's time that you looked into it. For me, I'm considered a 1-3 self-projected projector. So that makes me the seeker of truth and knowledge. I have a deep level of knowledge followed by a lifetime of trial and error. And I lead you as I figure it out. So to learn from me is to learn from an innate expert. There's really no other place that you could be, or there's no better hands that you could be in. I'm going to guide you to open yourself up to more self-love, self-worth, money, abundance, and happiness, which directly affects you and everyone you love. Together, we are going to trash what you think you know and helping you discover so much more expansiveness and abundance than you knew existed. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about your parents, whether they're narcissists or not. We're going to talk about your business. We're going to talk about your 9-to-5, your love life, race and culture, and a host of other topics, depending on my mood. If TikTok has taught you anything, it's that there's so much about life and practicality and people different from you that you never learned about in school. Because I'm still over here trying to get over the Pythagorean theorem. F that is TikTok on crack. We are cracking your beliefs wide the fuck open. So to jumpstart the epicness that is F that, I want to talk to you about a topic that I truly plan on giving a TED Talk on one day, which is labels. Society labels everything. It's how we find meaning. It's how we decide something's value. It's how we place blame. It's how we determine our worthiness and the worthiness of others. A large portion of my audience across all platforms are eldest daughters. Eldest daughters are raised to be independent, self-sustaining, and people pleasers. That's what your parents expect, and that's what society expects. Moms are expected to sew into their children 24/7. Dads are expected to work outside the home and be the primary breadwinner, blah, blah, blah. Women are expected to be attractive, in shape, maintain a home, have wine nights, and submit to men. Blech. That's gross. The problem, though, with labels is that they put you inside of a box that you never asked to be in. Yeah, you're a woman, but like, why should you want babies? Yeah, you're an eldest daughter, but why should you be responsible for taking care of your parents in their old age? Yeah, you're a mom, but why should you feel guilty for regularly indulging in bougie self-care or not tending to your crotch goblins 24/7? Labels make us feel small, out of place, and make us yearn for so much more than we think is available to us. They fuel anxiety, overthinking, guilt, and fear, none of which leads us to true personal power. So I'll tell you a story quickly about my journey and when it came to my labels. I remember being told that after I had my son that my life was all about him now. And that can be heavy in communities of color as well. And I remember thinking, fuck that. Why does what I want for myself, why does that not matter anymore? Why can't I be a good mom and do the shit that I want to do? The two don't have to be mutually exclusive. Now, let me tell you, I have never felt guilty for hiring a fucking sitter, for taking a weekend away, for not always including my daughters in my nail appointments. That shit is for me, okay? I matter. I've also witnessed so many moms self-sacrifice in the name of parenting. And they say that they want better for their kids, but they only mean it in the material sense. They never mean it in the form of emotional regulation, noticeable self-care, or reasonable boundaries with their kids. Because you can have boundaries with your children. You should have boundaries with your children, okay? Most of us didn't witness our parents engage in this behavior. So that's why we actively aren't displaying it for our kids. But why aren't we actively displaying it for our kids if it was something that we wish we had witnessed? And why aren't we actually showing our kids how to take care of themselves as adults? Why are we just talking about it? Why aren't we actually showing them? And so for years, I thought I was actually doing stuff for myself, but I was still hiding behind being a mom. So last year, I enrolled in a hip hop class because I needed to heal my inner child. There's actually nothing better that you can do for your children than to show them how you take care of yourself, not just talk about it, not just yap about it. Like, shut up about it already and actually do something about it. And moms aren't supposed to shake their ass. But guess who shook her whole ass and did a recital with a bunch of other moms in a recital room full of hundreds of people? Me, okay? Absolute queen behavior. This is how we show our kids how we take care of ourselves. This is how we step outside of societal labels. So for a second, I need you to imagine what life would be like for you if you felt liberated from all the labels that society has put on you and the subsequent expectations that come with them. What would you be doing if you stopped caring about the nonsensical opinions of strangers or people who don't pay your bills? Would you be twerking in a hip hop class? Would you be doing stand-up comedy at a dive bar? Would you be less professional in emails to your passive-aggressive coworker? Go wild with your imagination. How big would you allow yourself to be? Pause. What? What? You're gonna have to edit that out. because people won't stop bothering me. Okay. And I want you to go wild with your imagination, because whatever you can see, a version of you already has. You want it so badly because a version of yourself in a different dimension already has it. And why are you letting her have all the fun? And the reason another of you has already reached this goal and you haven't is because you first have to believe that you're worthy of stepping outside of the box that society has put you in. You have to realize the immense power you wield and how much bigger and bolder and how much more money it can create for you if you allowed yourself to reach out and grab it. Abundance is your birthright. You are so much bigger and bolder than the weak ass labels society has put on you. Fuck that. You don't need it. So on every one of my episodes in this podcast, I'm going to give you an actionable step and some journal prompts to think on. This is going to help you build your conscious awareness and help you adjust your mindset to one of abundance. So I want you to identify 3 labels that society has imposed on you and the expectations that go with them. Daughter, dad, professional, therapist, whatever. And you can always pause this and resume it when you have those written down. This is our starting point. This is the box we're attempting to climb out of. What expectations are you tired of trying to meet? And once you have those written down, now I want you to come to these 2 journaling prompts, which you'll also be able to find in the show notes as well. And you can either pause again the episode here, or you can come back to the show notes later and write them down. And the link to the show notes can be found in the episode description. So prompt number 1, why don't I believe I'm worthy of being greater than my label? I'll repeat. Why don't I believe I'm worthy of being greater than my label? And I ask you this because your worthiness level is directly tied to how conditioned you feel by society. And so society has conditioned you to be like, well, you can only be this type of way because you're a mom, or you can only be this kind of way because you're a professional. Then your worthiness is going to be tied to that. Your worthiness is going to be tied to your productivity based on that. So why don't you believe that you're worthy of being more than this label is that society has put on you? Prompt number 2. If I could be anyone, who would I be? And why am I not that person right now? What keeps me from that? I'll repeat. If I could be anyone, who would I be? And why am I not that person right now? What keeps me from that? And I ask you this because if you were already the highest version of yourself, you wouldn't feel so drawn to this podcast to begin with, first of all, right? And if you were already the highest version of yourself, you wouldn't be so concerned with what other people think about you. You wouldn't be so concerned with falling into these labels or being inside of this box that you don't actually want to be in. So who do you want to be? Because you can be anyone. You can literally change everything about yourself if you want to. What's keeping you from being that person? Why do you feel unsafe being that person? I want you to know that you are so much bigger than you have allowed yourself to be. You have so much more power than society has made you believe. Especially as a woman, the patriarchy is depending on you to remain in line, small and disempowered. And you no longer deserve to live like that. You owe it to yourself and to everyone who looks up to you to be the biggest, loudest, baddest version of yourself. Seriously, fuck the labels. Seriously. You are so much bigger, so much bolder, so much more powerful, and so worthy of everything it is that you want for yourself. You just have to believe that you are first, and you just have to reach out and grab it. thank you so much for joining me on this first episode of F That. I hope truly that it inspired you to start thinking differently about the labels that you've been given and how to trash the expectations that come with them. And I hope you've gotten a fair amount of flavor that I'm bringing to all of my episodes. This is probably just like a little bit of pepper. This is not even as spicy as it's going to get. And speaking of which, all of my next episodes, in the next episode, we're going to be talking about how to create and maintain what I note as thick mommy boundaries that protect your energy. But we also want to make sure that our intentions and our perspective are in the right place as we are setting them. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share it with someone who you know needs to hear this and can benefit from it. And remember, your journey to reclaiming your power starts right now.